Good evening. And today for Tremors we bring you Tremors 2 Aftershock. The shock that comes after the first Tremors. And a sequel that is probably my favorite out of the series. Now this one was directed DVD or video back in the day. I believe I actually had the idea of when was this one released. This one was released it was 1996, so this was released 6 years later. But it was released on video at a budget of $4 million. I couldn't find what it actually made. But apparently the Tremors series keeps making enough to make sequels, so who knows. Maybe they just made it off the revenues they got from the first Tremors. But yeah, I mean, it has all this entire series has the classic beats of a series such as the Evil Dead series. It's a horror comedy, except it's a creature feature comedy. Except it's not played immensely for horrors. I mean, it's trying to play for the campy scares, like the scene where Earl and Grady find Julio. Julio's just hands are there hanging after he got eaten by the Shriekers. That's clearly made for saying, "Oh my God, scare! Be disturbed." Or, for instance, like when what was the other guy's name? Pedro. Oh, no, excuse me, it was Pedro, and then Julio was the one who got eaten by the Shrieker up at the refinery. And you just see the Shrieker actually gnawing on his leg. Yeah, that could be interpreted as a little scary. The only real actual scares that came out of this particular movie, as opposed to the first one I could actually say had some legitimate scares to it, like the guy being sucked underground, or the guy getting sucked through the tire and stuff like that. Them not being able to see these things, them being like basically pinned down by these underground monsters. That has some legitimate moments of tension and fright in that. But as the series progressed, particularly highlighted in the sequel, they said, you know what? Let's not kid ourselves here. We know exactly what this series is, so let's own up to that. Let's embrace what this movie series is supposed to be. Campy fun, campy monster fun, and they do that in spades, man. The humor is still spot on for this movie series, particularly just between Grady, Fred Ward, and Earl and Burt Gummer. Burt Gummer is still the greatest character that's ever come out of this series. But we focus more on Fred Ward in this because we focused more on Kevin Bacon in the first one. And he's mysteriously not in this because I believe he was becoming a bigger actor at the time. Like Apollo 13 and things. I don't know when. I can't remember exactly when Apollo 13 came out, but I'm not going to bother looking that up. Kevin Bacon is a damn good actor. He's been pretty high profile. Last thing I saw Fred Ward in was he had a brief role in Two Guns. That's the last thing I saw Fred Ward in. But Fred Ward's no slouch as an actor either. He's actually a very accomplished actor. However, they do make him out. She's like, we spoke to your partner, Senior Valentine. He did not think, of course, Val married a good woman. Why would he want to die? There's your one little bit of information. What happened to Valentine? You'll have to excuse me. There's some people walking down the street. Sorry, I just heard those people walking down the street, so it just threw me off my roll there for a moment. I was actually on a good roll there for a moment. Darn you, random people. Now, back on topic. So we see Earl. He's living in Perfection, Nevada still. In fact, we don't know if he still lives in Perfection, Nevada after the second one. I'm going to say no, because they make a reference in the third one, which I'll get to tomorrow, that him and Grady actually opened up their theme park for Earl and Grady's Monster World. That's gonna, they get pulled by the graboid and the chain's like, that's gonna be the first ride on my in my theme park. Don't you ever get down, or doesn't anything bring you down? It's like, well, I am blessed with a sunny disposition. Most people find it very cheerful and enlightening. It's like, what's this do for your disposition? 8 graboids are going in on him. It's like, oh God, we need help. Who do want to help us in this mess? Enter Burt Gummer, and I love that great pan too of the graboid head mounted on his trophy wall, and it only has 2 tentacles because they shot one of those things off. I love the fact he has it as a trophy. Oh man, the fact that him and his wife are obviously get a divorce or in the process of a divorce. She's like, Heather's ain't coming back. She called me up and told me to send her the HK mag. Ouch. Yeah. I love Bert's just hard on for weaponry. And she's like, that's a gift from the Gauchos. That might be something that goes in my personal collection. And then she's like, what is this? 50 caliber anti-tank bear. Grizzly caliber anti-tank. Anti-tank had the bullets cast from solid bronze. Don't you know the meaning of overkill? Hey, when you need it and don't got it, you sing a different tune. Oh, man. I love the tone of this movie because they really do know this movie completely. And the scares they try to do in this movie are more just to play for the campy scares we get, like, say, Army of Darkness, per se. This really does lend a lot of its tone from something like Army of Darkness. Particularly like when we see Bert just driving through the night, he stops, and then the Shriekers are there. Which, let's talk about the Shriekers. The Shriekers were a clever innovation of the evolution of the Graboid. They basically likened it to a metamorphosis, kind of like as Earl put it, it's like he does it. There's a word for it. It turns them like a butterfly does, or a caterpillar does it. But I bet what came out with no pretty butterfly. Damn, words aren't cutting any slack. And then they see it for the first, like, how big is this thing? It's just this little. It's like, what? And then we see they've evolved now. They have infrared sensors on their head, making them probably more dangerous. Well, I'll get to that in Tremors 5. For those of you who have not yet watched Tremors 5. So, is there anything that I dislike in this movie? Well, the character of Grady is kind of irritating at first, but you grow on Grady after a while. He does become that kind of fun little everyman comic sidekick. The proper type of comic sidekick who actually does stuff. And who gets rightfully annoyed at Bert on a couple points. But that being said, you side with Bert almost all the time in these movies. The female love interest of Earl, who's played by Helen Shaver, she was fine. Nothing great about it. If I were to complain a little bit, this is when they were starting to incorporate new CGI into the movies. There was almost no CGI in the original movie. It was all practical effects, and it showed and paid off for that. And for the most part, it's all practical effects in this movie. It's puppetry, it's animatronics. We see, like, when the Graboids are there, it's still the Graboids. They probably had them left over from the first movie. We see the one that's all busted open and hollowed out. The Shriekers are there most of the time, except when they're actually running in motion. They're actually physically there. They're all puppets and things along those lines. There's probably people like working their mechanics in there. The only time we see CGI with them is when they're actually multiples of them and they're moving like running, for instance. And CGI up to that point was very hit and miss. Jurassic Park came out, I believe, in 1993. You can please correct me if I'm wrong on that little fact. I'm fairly certain. You know what? Just so I'm not going to make an ass out of myself, I just want to make sure when Jurassic Park came out. Jurassic Park came out in 1993. I was right, so I'm not making an ass of myself. Hooray. But yeah, that came out in 1993, and its effects were groundbreaking, absolutely, and they still hold up amazing today. I mean, granted, there are better effects out there, but for what it was, 1993, as I mentioned with Tremors 2, their special effects, practical and CGI, held up amazingly. This is more just the low-budget, cheap end of practical effects. You can tell that they're effects. You can tell they're not actually there, but they serve their purpose. They probably had visualized something. Just say, pretend it's there, Bert. Pretend it's there. That being said, some of my most favorite scenes in this movie come from Bert. One of the running things is he's okay, to say what the running scene gag is with that, you have to go to the scene beforehand where they don't know the Graboids have the Graboids have all changed at this point. The Shriekers, we're not aware of where Bert is if he makes out, because we see him get ambushed and he gets to the black. Then we see he's like, thank God it's Bert. Yeah, they didn't get him. Then you see his truck is just beat to hell. There's guts, everything. It's like, I think they did get him, and they just see Bert. Like, Bert, what happened? Well. I feel, and my favorite line in the entire movie, in fact, even the entire series, which even gets brought back up later on in the fifth one, I feel I was denied critical, need to know information. He's like, well, geez, bro. Well, upon losing contact with everyone at HQ, I decided to head back to refinement. But en route, I found I'm in an ambush situation. Must have been a couple dozen of these things. Well, I dropped the first wave with semi-auto, but they just kept coming. Sheer luck, most of them were in front of the car, so I just popped in the 16 rail and ran them all down. Once that day got on board, I handled with a combination of small arms fire and hand-to-hand techniques. I am completely out of ammo. That's never happened to me before. Just the whole look of just a realization and defeat. And then she's like, I didn't know. How could I have known? I didn't know. How could I have known? And he's still got his 50 caliber rifle. He's only got one shot. You only got one shot. You got to make it. Yeah, I know. Cover yours. It's going to be loud. Boom! Just blows the camera away, but he pops the hood and just kills the engine. I didn't know. How was I supposed to know? We were supposed to be up against graboids. I wanted maximum penetration. Then he lowers them into the warehouse, which has all like the sugar, sweet snack food, rice flour. I didn't know. How could I have known? Because they multiply through eating. They eat enough and they go blah. That's basically how they reproduce. So it's just a hilarious must-see montage of it goes from bad to worse to what the fuck to how the hell are we in this situation right now? And then eventually they use the fire extinguisher to coat Fred Ward, Earl, and he goes and activates a bomb. He's like, I couldn't get any bomb, so I activated a bomb and I just pressed something and lit timer and ran. You did what? That's 150 pounds or something amount of. It was like 1,000. I think it said like 1,000 pounds of high explosives. Bird, don't tell it's not enough. Please don't tell me it's not enough. It's never mind. Just run. It's gonna be big. And the river, is it gonna be today? Get down. Just boom. I know this is me just doing a play-by-play for anyone who's already seen the movie. You're like, we already seen this, but it was great. If you're watching this, you know how wonderful that scene is. All those scenes are just hilarious. The humor is beautiful in this movie. These really are just creature feature comedies at this point, and it's great for it. As I said, I think I mentioned the first Tremors review I did. I'm not doing a rating system for these. These are almost guilty pleasures, but I actually think the first 3 are actually pretty solid movies. The 4th one and the 5th one we'll get to when we get to them. I also got a quick comment on Facebook if I'm going to do the Tremors series. Now, I did watch all of the Tremors series, but it's been years since I watched them. I own all the Tremors movies. I rewatch them all the time. I do not own the Tremors series. If I can find a Tremors series, I will definitely pick it up because I actually really enjoyed it. But I don't own it, so I can't do a really good review on that without actually having to rewatch some episodes. If I can maybe find some episodes online, maybe I'll do it come actual Halloween. But until then, yeah, we're sticking with the Tremors movies for right now. So that's my thoughts on Tremors 2 Aftershock. I mean, if I had any complaints, really, the only complaint I have is some of the effects are, I mean, where I said they are a little dated in the 90s, this is more mid-90s dated for CGI. This is dated CGI we see in there. Now, not terrible CGI, all things considered, but it's dated. It's like Dragonheart level, maybe a step down from Dragonheart level. And Dragonheart, its CGI effects actually aren't terrible for the most part, except when you have just Draco standing in front of a screen. Or Drake, they call him Draco. Basically, Sean Connery Drake. When he's standing in front of a screen, then you see just how obvious, not necessarily bad, but how obvious the effect actually is. But other than that, though, the effects in Dragonheart actually still hold up pretty well, now that I think about it. So I'll maybe do a review of Dragonheart at some point if anyone wants me to. So that's my thoughts on Tremors 2 Aftershock. I enjoy it. It's probably my favorite out of the series, even though and then the first one comes in. Actually, if I were to just say right now what my favorites are, I'll leave that to the end. Right now, I would say that Aftershock's my favorite, followed right behind by Tremors 2. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review at some point. So tomorrow will be Tremors 3, Back to Perfection. I've got one bit of movie news today, which is a kind of continuation of yesterday's movie news, but with some extra information added onto it. Actually, quite a bit of extra information I didn't find out. So it's going to be a continuation add-on of yesterday's movie news. So thanks for watching, and I will see you